And yet, even as he contemplated killing the cop, Noland found himself hoping that someone else in the line, some better, smarter, kinder citizen, would recognize him and call out, "Twice! Hey, you're Noland Twice!" and jar the stupid cop's memory. He wished it because he knew the real reason for the cop's vague recollection of him. It came not from any recent encounter, not from his many visits to the courthouse as a PI over the past years, not from his rarer visits as a sheriff's deputy in the years before that. No, the cop recognized him from his days playing football. That long-ago autumn when Noland, at 19, had played strong safety for the Gators and done some things on the field that people found amazing, at least for a while. So amazing that he'd been famous, briefly. Not movie star famous or even rich guy famous, but famous enough to be remembered 13 years later by a bored cop with nothing better to do. The cop waited. He had closed the knife, but still held it between his thumb and forefinger. Noland knew there was only one way this could end that didn't result in death and/or incarceration. With one swift motion, he snatched the knife from the cop's hand, and before the man could react, tossed it into the garbage can behind the scanner, where it landed with a sharp, metallic pop. "Are we good now?" Noland asked. The cop narrowed his eyes. Noland waited. "Yeah," the cop said at last, and handed him the pack. He hadn't bothered to zip the flaps up. Noland slung the Jansport over his shoulder and walked off toward courtroom C. As expected, it was nearly empty, with just a few principals at the front. Faith stood at the defendant's table, dressed in her usual sleek business suit. Her client sat beside her, perched on the straight-backed chair, too small for him, a big blond man in a much nicer suit. Across the aisle, Assistant State Attorney Sidney Cross sat at his table, tapping on a MacBook, his chestnut brown hair sculpted up into a perfect postmodern ducktail. And above all of them, looming on the bench like a bald Moses, was Judge Matthew R. Abercrombie. The judge must have been having as bad a day as Noland, because he looked pissed, too. "Are you serious?" he boomed, addressing Faith. Of course. Only Faith could inspire such biblical wrath. He punctuated his next question by jabbing a finger into the smooth pine surface of the bench. "You really have the nerve to ask for 2 more weeks, Miss Carlton?" Faith didn't flinch. "I don't know about my nerve, Your Honor, but yes, I am asking for 2 more weeks. We have another witness to depose, Mr. Valkenburg." The judge's eyebrows climbed his forehead like enraged caterpillars, fighting each other. Yes, Valkenburg." He bit his lower lip. "Gone missing, has he? A month ago?" "That's true, Judge. We've been unsuccessful in locating him." "Well, what makes you think you'll have any more success in the next 2 weeks?" "We have added some resources," Faith said. "Oh, well, that changes everything," he sneered. Noland sneaked into the back row of the gallery and sat down, keeping his eye on the judge. He knew exactly what Abercrombie was thinking at that moment, because he, Noland, had thought the same thing himself, many times. Namely that Faith, at 5'2" and 106 pounds, was too slight and delicate to be such a colossal pain in the ass. Even her good looks were of a disconcerting type. Not beautiful exactly, with her pointy cheekbones and slit of a mouth, but striking, especially her eyes, which shone a clear blue, even in the harsh artificial light of courtroom C. To Abercrombie, she must have stood out a mile from the sea of bland faces he confronted each day. The drab government men and women who found themselves before his bench, cowed by his reputation. Faith wasn't cowed. She might look like a flamingo, but she was really an alligator. Abercrombie shook his head. He seemed about to scoff. But then by chance he raised his eyes to the gallery. He spotted Noland for the first time, squinted, and smiled.